Hey, I'm your host, Jen Wheeler, and this is the Healthy Her podcast. I'm a teacher, author, and foodie who went from being addicted to sugar, skipping meals, and struggling to get in control of my eating, to someone who is 10 kilos down, eats all the yummy foods without restriction, and is finally in control of my hunger. I'm obsessed with helping other health-conscious women ditch the confusion and overwhelm so they can cultivate healthy eating habits and truly thrive. The Healthy Her podcast was created to give you real talk about healthy eating, as well as easy, actionable tips that fit seamlessly into your busy lifestyle. I'm not just your host. Think of me as your healthy eating hype gal, your personal cheerleader as we chat all things healthy eating, weight loss, and mindset mastery, so you can become the healthiest, happiest version of you. So if you're ready to ditch the guilt, reclaim your confidence, and unlock the very best version of you, then you're in the right place. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Healthy Her podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. We have got a very interesting topic today because I know it's something that so many of us struggle with as women. So today we're going to delve deep into all about how you can set boundaries and start being okay with saying no, that you can build a wellness and exercise routine that works for you. Now, I want to just start off by saying that no matter what, your health and your wellness should always come first, especially as a woman, because on a day-to-day basis, we are constantly juggling so many of our own things, plus all of the people in our lives, including partners and children. And we're juggling all of these things all of the time. So I really want to stress that your health and your wellness should always be a priority and should always come first. Now, on that topic too, that does not make you selfish. Because you want to go and work out or exercise or do some meal prep or make yourself a healthy lunch, that does not make you selfish. When you prioritize yourself and your health and your wellness, you show up differently, you show up better for those people that are around you, including your friends, your family, and your loved ones. And I'm sure that on some level, you've all experienced this in some way or another, where as soon as you start dropping the ball on your health and your wellness, so things start getting busy and stuff pops up in life. And so you were consistently working out and you were consistently drinking water and eating enough fruits and vegetables and all those kind of things. And then slowly we start to drop them off and we slowly start to erode away at our health and wellness. And what happens? We feel like crap. Like that's the reality. You know, as soon as we start chipping away at our health, at our wellness, we start to feel like rubbish. And so that's why it is so important that number one should be your health and your wellness, so that you can show up as the best version of you for your loved ones and for the people that are around you. So like I said, if you are still in that mindset of, well, oh, hang on, but I've got a family and I have kids and I have work and I have all these things, and it's selfish for me to take an hour out of my day to go and work out or to do something. No, it's not. It absolutely is not. It is your right to take care of yourself, of your health and your wellness, and it should always be a priority. And, like I said, that's something that it's often just unfortunately one of the first things to go, isn't it? It's like, well, I'm doing these things. I'm looking out after myself. I feel really good. I'm exercising. I'm moving my body. And then life happens. And then it's always the first thing that we drop. It's like I've got lots of work things on, or I'm going out to lots of social events. So that's always the first thing that we drop is our health and our wellness. And like I said, if you continually chip away at that over time, you just eventually feel like rubbish. And the reason that this happens is because we don't set boundaries for ourselves and we don't learn to be okay with saying no. And the reason I wanted to record this episode today is because I know that for myself personally and my own personal health and weight loss journey, and also for the loads of women that I work with, this issue comes up a lot because as women, we're always like the caregivers, we're always looking after everyone else and making sure everyone else is okay. And we really, really struggle to set boundaries for ourselves and also to say no. So the goal is by the end of this episode, like when we wrap up the episode and it's the closing, like outro, that you feel really confident and really empowered so that you can start to set some boundaries around your wellness and so that you can start being okay with saying no to people. Now, how do you set boundaries? Okay. It's all well and good to say, that's great, Jen. Like I know I need some boundaries because as soon as my life gets busy or something comes up or I get invited out, like I literally just drop everything and stop making my health and my wellness a priority. So how do you set some boundaries? And this is the thing, I want to be really clear on this. You can set boundaries without being extreme. You have to not get into this mindset of, well, I have to do the all or the nothing. It's about ditching that all or nothing mindset. Like you can still set boundaries. You can still say no. You can still make your health and your wellness a priority without going to extremes and expecting that it all needs to be done perfectly, because that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about finding ways by setting boundaries and saying no so that you can still make your health and your wellness a priority when stuff comes up, when life gets busy, when you've got lots of social things on or work things on or things on with the kids, and how you can set those boundaries so you can still make your workouts, your healthy eating, and all of those things that are a priority for you, how you can still make them happen. Okay, so how do you go about setting your boundaries? The first one that is really, really important is that it's very hard to set a boundary if you don't know what you want. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to be really clear on your priorities. So what's important to you? Are you someone that absolutely loves a Pilates class? That's your go-to. You love Pilates. And when you go to Pilates and you go 3 times a week, you feel amazing, like you're a better mother, you're a better wife, like you're a better partner, like you just feel better. If Pilates 3 times a week is a priority, then that's what you have to set boundaries around. Okay. For me, I love a morning workout. I've worked out through trial and error. I've tried afternoon sessions. I've tried evening like workouts and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't work for me, and it doesn't work for my lifestyle and being a mum and all of those kind of things. For me, morning exercise is a priority. So I have to set boundaries so that I can make my morning workouts a priority. So I'll give you an example. So for me, I want to get up and I want to do my workout before I do anything else. And I've talked about this before, but for me, it's like the one time of the day that is just for me before anyone else can get to me. And I know a lot of women feel the same. Like I love to get messages from people saying, my gosh, Jen, like I love my early morning workouts now because it's like the house is quiet, no one's bothering me. Like it's just my 1 hour of the day that's just for me. And then as soon as that workout finishes and you're home and everyone's at you, like it's kids, it's work, it's commitments, all of these things, it's housework, it's all of this other stuff that you have to deal with. That one time in the morning where it's just for you is the best feeling ever. So for me, to make that happen, I have to set myself some boundaries. So one of those boundaries means going to bed. Like if I want to get up in the morning and get a workout in, I need to go to bed at a reasonable time. I can't stay like watching Netflix or scrolling mindlessly on my phone. And yes, I'm guilty of that kind of stuff too. Like I'm not perfect. I have to set boundaries. And so for me, that's like phone is off. Like absolute latest, 8 o'clock, my phone is switched off so I can have that hour of phone free time before I actually go to bed. So for me, a boundary is turning my phone off. It is going to bed early. Like they're 2 really simple things, boundaries that I set for myself so that I can then get up in the morning and fit my workout in. So like I said, that's a priority for me because I show up better when I can get in my morning exercise. I have more energy, like I sleep better. There's so many benefits for me of doing morning exercise. So I make it a priority. I set those boundaries. And so I turn my phone off and I make sure that I go to bed at a reasonable time so that I can get up in the morning. So you just need to get really clear on what's a priority for you. Like, what kind of exercise? Is it gym? Is it Pilates? Is it a walk? Do you just love your daily walk? Like what is your priority and what boundaries can you set around that? It doesn't happen without that system and without the structure behind it. So if something is a priority for you, you have to set a boundary around your daily habits in order to make that thing happen. And like I said, it doesn't have to be this huge, fancy, complicated thing. It can be something, like I said, really easy. I just turn my phone off and I make sure that I go to bed. And I also, it's not really a boundary, but it's something that I will do is I put my gym clothes out, like at the end of the chair in my bedroom, at the end of my bed, because it just makes my mornings easier. That's another little like routine and a boundary and a rule that I've set for myself. So really, really think about what is a priority for you when it comes to your health and your wellness. Is it your exercise? Is it your sleep? Is it your meal prep? Like, is meal prep really helpful for your like being able to eat healthy and to look after yourself? Then you need to set a boundary around when you will meal prep. Like what day are you going to do it on? How long will you take? Like, how will you structure your meal prep? Are you going to do it? You're planning on a certain day and then you're cooking on another day. So get really clear on what are your priorities, because that will make it a whole lot easier for you to set your own boundaries around your health and wellness. Because if you're not really clear, it's very hard to set boundaries, because you can kind of go, oh, well, I kind of want to work out and like I kind of want to drink more water, and I'd kind of love to wake up and have a, like a high protein, like meal prep breakfast ready and waiting for me in the fridge. I'd really kind of like to do those things. But if you're not super clear on that's exactly what you want, and I'm going to do those things because I know how it's going to make me feel, you're going to find it very hard to set boundaries for yourself. And like I mentioned earlier in this episode, as soon as something comes up, the first thing to go is you. It's always you, 100%. You, your wellness, your health, how you take care of yourself, your self-care is always the first thing to go when stuff comes up in life. And that's why it's so important to set those boundaries, because when you have the boundaries, it still means that you can handle all those things that life throws at you, but you can also still continue to make your health and your wellness a priority at the same time. Okay, so we've gotten really clear on what your priorities are and why they're important to you. And I've talked about like my early morning workouts and those kind of things, and how they make me feel and why I make them priority and how I set boundaries around them. Now, another way that you can set boundaries is with your family and friends. Now, I know that this one's always a bit of an uncomfortable topic, and I do find it can be uncomfortable when I talk to like women in the coaching calls and through the membership and things. It's hard sometimes to set boundaries around family and friends and people that we care about, because like I said, we always revert to that, oh, well, like that's selfish if I do that. No, it's not selfish. It's you setting a boundary and you making your health and your wellness a priority. So how do you set boundaries and be okay with saying no to family and friends? So what I mean by that is, like I said, so if a social event comes up, we just drop everything, right? We drop our health, we drop our wellness. But what if you could set a boundary and still go to the social thing and still make your health and wellness a priority so that you still feel your best? Like, you can get to do both, but it is a skill and it does take a bit of practice, because the more you do it, the more confident you become with setting boundaries and not necessarily saying no to friends and families, but being okay with changing the plans or doing something slightly different. So what I mean by that is, let's say on the weekend, like you're catching up with some girlfriends and it's at this time and, there's a group chat and everyone's going at this time, and you're like, oh, but I really would like to get, I've been a super busy week and I've barely had any time to work out. And like, I really just want to go on Saturday morning and like get in my yoga class or my gym session. I really just want to do that first. Ask your friends. Like, if these people are your friends, set that boundary and say, hey, would it be okay if we just pushed it back an hour and we meet here, because I'd really like to get my workout in the morning? That does not make you a bad friend. That does not make you a bad person. It's okay to prioritize yourself. Now, obviously, there's going to be exceptions, because we all know how hard it is to organize a group of women for a catch up. Let's be honest. It's not easy. It is very hard and often takes multiple conversations and multiple group chat conversations to try and organize a date. So obviously, there's going to be exceptions to that rule if that's the only time that all of your friends can get together and it's just not an option to change it. But on most occasions, it's actually pretty easy to say, oh, can we go at this time instead? Because I'd like to get my workout in, or I've just bought all my groceries and I just need to do a quick 1 hour meal prep. Can we just go then instead? Or like a lot of the times, like my girlfriends and I, we will change what we're doing. So your catch ups with family and friends doesn't always have to be, hey, let's sit around and eat pizza and drink alcohol. Like, why can't it be, hey, let's catch up and let's go for a walk along the coast and grab a coffee and a healthy breakfast afterwards? It's okay to change the things that you do with your friends in order to squeeze in your health and your wellness. And again, that comes down to setting those boundaries that you have for yourself. But it does take practice and it does take time, because I'm not going to lie to you, the first time you do it, you'll feel uncomfortable. You feel like, oh, is this a bit selfish of me just to say, hey, can we move this back an hour, or can we just do this day instead? Or you'll feel a little bit selfish and a little bit uncomfortable, but you just have to remind yourself that it's not selfish. You shouldn't feel uncomfortable, and that it's okay to make your health and your wellness a priority. And people are pretty, honest. They'll say, no, I can't do it then, or like, could we do this instead? And like I said, if that's important to you, your friends and family and your loved ones will support you in that decision, and they will work around you, same way that you would work around them and their commitments and things that they had going on at the same time. So start to be okay with adjusting your plans, tweaking your plans, say, hey, yep, love to do that, but can we catch up after this or before this, in order to get in your workout, your sauna, whatever your focus is on your wellness at that time. And just, like I said, just start being okay with saying no and setting those boundaries. Are you tired of the endless struggle to eat healthy and nail your meal prep routine? Introducing the Real Nourish Do-It-Yourself Meal Prep Mixes, the ultimate solution for busy women like you. When I went on my own personal health journey, I discovered the many benefits of meal prep. And after much searching, I just couldn't find a meal prep mix that was designed especially for women. So I literally decided to create my own. Trust me, as a busy working mum, meal prep has changed my life. Our mixes are packed with protein to keep you energized and feeling full. Our mixes can be whipped up in under 10 minutes, perfect for your on-the-go lifestyle. Using our award-winning pancake tray bake mix means you can say goodbye to standing over a hot stove, flipping pancakes. Simply add water, toss in your favourite fruits, and bake. If you're ready to revolutionise your meal prep game, you can find my mixes at theactivebod.com or follow us on Instagram at realnourish_. And as a special thank you to our Healthy Her community, we have a discount code. So just enter the code, the Healthy Her, at the checkout. The other one I really want to talk about, because this does definitely come under setting boundaries, and it's learning to say no to food. Now, this comes up so many times, and I know like people have asked me in the past, they'll say to me, but Jen, like, how do you go somewhere and like someone offers you food and you just say, no, thank you? Don't you feel bad or don't you feel rude? And I'm like, no, I don't, because first of all, one, if I've just eaten, I'm not going to eat something just because it's been put in front of me. Like if I genuinely want to eat that thing, I will say, yes, thank you. I would love to have a slice of cake or chips or whatever is on offer. I'm quite happy and quite comfortable to eat that thing because I want to. So often I spent so many years where I had zero control around food. So as soon as I was somewhere and there was morning tea, plates of donuts, whatever it was, because you guys know them, I have a massive sweet tooth. I had no control. So I had to eat one of everything and then I'd feel super guilty afterwards. Whereas now that I'm in a different position, I like that feeling of being in control. I like that feeling of being able to say, yeah, no, thanks, I'm good. Like, I'm okay. I'm not really hungry. I don't really feel like eating that. And it's a really important place that you have to get comfortable with. You have to get comfortable with saying no to food when it is offered to you. You cannot eat a food just because it makes another person happy. Okay. And that's the reality. You eat a food because A, you're hungry, or because 2, you want to. That's why you eat food. You don't eat food to make someone else happy. Or, like your friend, well, she's not dieting, but you're really trying to work on your healthy eating and your weight loss, and you've got some goals that you want to focus on. And so you say yes to the food just to make your friend happy and to make her feel more comfortable. That is not a reason to eat. You need to start being okay with saying no to food. And the same thing goes for asking for things at restaurants. Like if you don't want something, or you want the sauce on the side, or you don't want it to come with the sauce, or however you want your meal to come, start being okay with being more confident in asking for the things that you want when it comes to food. Because again, that's setting a boundary for yourself. Like I said, you can't just go to someone's house and eat all of the food that's there because you don't want to hurt their feelings. That's not a reason to eat the food. That's you not setting a boundary for yourself, and that's you people pleasing and doing something to make someone else happy. A way that I have got around this, you can steal my little tip, because like I said, quite often when you eat better, you don't want to pick at food all the time. You don't feel that need to snack all the time, okay? When you go out to these social events and you had a morning tea or an afternoon tea or like a catch up, whatever, and there's all this food here, when you eat properly and you nourish your body properly, you actually don't feel like eating those foods all the time and picking at them all the time. So it's a lot easier to say no, no, thank you. But my little tip is that, these are friends and family and people that you care about and you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. So you just say, no, thank you. Or another good one that you can say, which has always really helped me, is that I've just eaten, or I'll have some in a little while, or I'll have some a little bit later. I can be okay with going, I really don't feel like it now, but can I take some home? And then you can have it and eat it at a time that you want to have it. Again, it's all about you setting boundaries about your health, your wellness, your food, because you cannot dictate and you can't let other people dictate what you eat and when you eat and what you say no to and what you say yes to, because you're going to hurt someone's feelings. So it is totally okay to say no, thank you. Can I have a takeaway box? Can I have some later? So that you're not just eating to make other people happy. And again, that comes with that learning to say no and learning to set those boundaries for yourself. And like I said, people ask me all the time, like I've even got like family members that'll be like, how do you just say no, thank you? Like, don't you feel bad? And I'm like, no, I don't, because me saying no to some food at somebody's house doesn't mean that I don't love them. It doesn't mean that I don't care about them. It doesn't mean that I don't truly appreciate all of the effort that they made to put together this beautiful platter or whatever it is. It doesn't mean that. It just means that I'm genuinely not hungry or I don't feel like eating that thing right now. And so it's really important that you try and separate the two. Like, they're not the same thing. And because you say yes to all of the food that they give you, that doesn't mean that you love them and you care about them. So start being okay with saying no. No, thank you. And I think it's really important to mention just on that topic, and I know that I have experienced this, and I'm pretty sure that most of you will have as well too, is that people often want other people to eat with them because it makes them feel better. So what I mean like that, I'm sure you've been out at a restaurant, there's a group of people, you've all had dinner, there's wine, and then like some of the women are getting a dessert. And you're like, okay, really, like I'm not full, don't feel like a dessert, or like, trying to like be a bit more mindful with my food. I don't really want a dessert. And then you've got the friend or the friends that are like, oh, we're getting a dessert. Why are you having a dessert? Come and have a dessert with us. Let's get a dessert. And they lay on all of the guilt. And you need to be really strong in that and know that it's got nothing to do with you. Like, it's got nothing to do with you. It is a reflection of them and how they feel. So you're confident to say, no, thanks. I'm full from dinner. I've had enough. I don't feel the need to eat dessert just because other people are eating dessert. But when they try and sort of force and encourage you to eat that dessert that you don't really want, like I said, just look at it as like it's a reflection of them. It's got nothing to do with you. They are just, I guess, a little bit jealous because you have the willpower to have the confidence to say yes to food when you want it and to say no to food when you don't want it. So again, these things are just a skill. They're little skills, little mini skills, I guess you could say, that you need to learn around healthy eating and wellness and all of those kind of things. And also too, on the flip side, we're saying no, we're setting boundaries. We're making sure that we don't drop our health and wellness every single time. But on the flip side of that, the really awesome thing is you can say a hell yes to all the things whenever you want to. If that amazing like Black Forest chocolate cake or Biscoff cheesecake or whatever comes out and you're like, wow, I'm so eating that, you're also in the position because you are confident, you are in control, you know how to set boundaries, you know how to make your wellness a priority. You can also say big fat hell yes when you do want to eat something, but you can also feel super confident and super comfortable with a no thanks, I'm fine with that, and be okay with that too. So there's also the boundaries where we say no, we set boundaries, we change plans, we tweak things so that we can still make our health and wellness a priority. But we've also got the confidence to say a big fat hell yes to the things that we want to eat and the things that we want to do too. So it kind of works on both sides. And honestly, it's the best thing. It is so good. Like, I remember that, and it might sound silly to some, but I remember that one of the biggest things that I thought was so awesome when I lost weight was being able to go to something. So whether it was a catch up, like a work morning tea, whatever it was, and there'd be all this amazing, yummy food in front of me, like all of this stuff, like donuts and cakes and biscuits and all of these things. And I'd be able to go, no thanks. Or I'd just have like a couple of little things and then I'd stop. I remember feeling like how good that felt because I finally felt in control of my food and I wasn't letting the food control me. And I remember just thinking, like, this just feels so good. Like, it is so empowering. It is so damn good. And it feels so damn good when you can say, nope, yes, I'll have that. No, thanks, I don't want that. Yes, I'm going to eat that. No, I'll have that later. It's really putting you back in control of your food choices. I hope that today's episode has given you lots of things to think about and just made you a little bit more empowered in order to set boundaries for yourself, to work out what's a priority for you, how are you going to make that a priority, how are you going to set those boundaries, and to start being okay and being comfortable with saying no to people and also saying no to foods that you don't want to eat. And you do not need to feel guilty for that at all. Not in any way at all. Like I said, eating someone's food does not mean that you love them and you care about them. You can still show that you love and care them in other ways if you don't want to eat the food that has been offered to you at that time. So just a reminder that your health and your wellness should always come first. Because like I said, it is always the first thing that gets eroded away. It's the first thing that we start to drop. And then what happens is we get stuck in this cycle where we just start to feel like rubbish. We feel like crap. And then we have to start all over again. So find ways to set boundaries for yourself and to start being okay with saying no. And then you will find making your healthy eating and your wellness and a healthy lifestyle, you'll just find it's easier to maintain for the long term. You won't have to do extremes. You'll just find it easier to maintain a certain level of wellness as you move through your daily life. As always, thank you so much for listening. If you love this episode, don't forget to leave a review or some 5 stars. It would mean the absolute world to me. I'm so grateful for this community. And don't forget you can jump into the show notes to download your free ebooks. You've got Simple Healthy Dinners. You've got my Weight Loss and Healthy Eating Essential Guide with lots of free recipes. Or you can also jump in and join us in the Healthy Eating Hype Gal membership. And I will see you all in our next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the Healthy Her podcast. If you enjoyed today's chat and found it helpful, hitting that follow or subscribe button would be amazing because your support means the world to me. Come connect with me on Instagram @TheActiveBod for your daily dose of inspiration and for loads of new easy meal ideas. Take care and keep thriving. See you next week.